Uncle Guido here. Well, I'm back. And it seems like we're still dealing with the same old pandemic story. Lots of rebels out there standing up saying you can't take my rights away. Lots of people afraid they're going to contract something and fade into the next story. Well, both realities are there, and if we remember the leper messiah's axiom number 21, it is what you think it is until you feel it's something else. Okay, what does that mean? That's pretty much each one of us is a receptor, an input follicle looking out at the universe, connecting back to the one. God, whatever you want to call it, the is, Allah, the universe, love. Anyway, so we're all looking at this thing through our very unique set of eyes, and we're trying to interpret what's going on around us. Of course, society's been handing us the story, our tribe's been telling us, our shaman, our religions, our wise men have been trying to tell you where the cow shits in the buckwheat for millennia now. And so we grow up around a construct of hand-me-down ideas and belief systems and proclivities towards figuring out a way to master the game of life here in man's world. Man has superseded the natural order of nature, and in the last couple of 100 years really done a number in industrializing, mechanizing, AIing, all these sort of things. So what I want to get it into is we're really strapped with a situation that was invented. The coronavirus is not natural. You'll see all sorts of debunkers about us tinfoil hat wearing kind of characters saying, oh, it happened naturally, and don't be such a conspiracy ninny, oh Guido, you little poop. But, hey, I trust my cards, right? They tell me some guy made it up and sprung it on the world. Probably in bed with Fauci and Gates and all these guys to make a little dough, shooting you up with some mercury and a vaccine that may or may work one time, maybe, or as the thing mutates, whatever. Anyway, this is not the point I want to get into as to what's really going on between. It's going on. We're in it. Let's go back a little bit and think about where we were prior to the outbreak of COVID-19. I myself, and I know many of my friends, were in this space of we're just trudging along on the same old treadmill, and we're thinking, wow, something's got to give, something's got to happen any moment. I can just feel this impending building up of things aren't quite right. None of these institutions man have set up have panned out for us, you know. Here I'm looking, I myself, I'm a rugged individualist that don't want anything from the government. So I'm looking at all these discussions about programs coming to give you a monthly check from the government. The government's going to provide your health care. And let me tell you something, the allopathic healthcare system is a mess. They're out for the bottom line. That's all there is. This whole thing with the COVID, oh my God, there's so many different viewpoints. But I'm on the bandwagon of it was created. It was used to restructure society, to herd the herd, you and me, into our little cattle pens, our self-quarantine prisons of home. It was used to consolidate the supply chains, to wheedle out the weak mom and pops that can't stand up to the gigantic Amazons and Googles and Facebooks and all this stuff. And the media is nothing more than a propaganda machine, and it has been since its inception, television that is, since the 50s. The true rulers hand down the story the way they want it read. And now they figured out how to divide and conquer us. I am red, you're blue. I believe this, I believe that. And you're the bad one. No, not me, not me. You. You're the bad one. Yeah, you. Anyway, that's a load of hooey. We're all in this together, and we have this tremendous opportunity to reformulate a lot of things that have worn out. And we knew they were worn out going into this, but now we're just, oh God, what's going to happen? I don't have a job or a paycheck. And that's very tough for some of you out there. Hasn't affected us that badly in Montana, but I know New York is really being hit, and Michigan and California. And I believe this shutdown should have never occurred. We should have allowed the flu-like disease to roll through the herd and let all the natural immunity build, and just quarantine and protect the frail, those that had other conditions that could have exacerbated this situation. And it would all been over months ago. Anyway, I don't want to debate this. I want to look at some things of where we are at, and I've done a little numerology here. I'm going to hold this up. And this is on America, where we live. Okay, you guys see that there? America boils down to a 32-5, which is the perfect number. 3 plus 2 is 5. It's the melting pot number. It's the smorgasbord number. It's like, let's see how many different goodies we can get on the table and sample a little bit of each one of these, okay? It's about freedom and change in the most playful of manners. So when America is in the throes of, say, like the 20s or the 60s, and there's probably some other periods that I'm not that aware of, where there was incredible amounts of creativity, looseness, playfulness, let your hair hang down, and let's see where the art and the music will take us from there. Keep in mind, music is always a reflection and a builder at the same time of society. So if you want to know what your society is like, listen to the words in your music. Sorry, rappers. You may have been handed that society, but you are creating it at the same time with your hoes and blings and all those things that just makes me sting. Anyway, who knows where we're going with that. It will be reflected in the art. And art both creates society and reflects society. And this is just a vibrationally interactive way in which, well, I could get lost in that forever, but let's go back to America. America's is 32-5. On both the yin and yang aspects of America is the 16-7. 16-7, if we remember, in relationship to Tarot, is the Tower card and also the Charioteer. So this union of the United States of America was built on a very solid rock of wisdom and enlightenment, and yes, spirituality. I'm sorry, my atheist friends, but there was a unseen hand that we could call God that guided our forefathers into breaking away. Just a few little men, not very many, not much of the population at all. Just a few little men said, hey, I don't like answering to King George. I don't like them taxing us without us having a voice in our own governance. So we had a revolution. Most of the population did not want to go along. They wanted to be good little people and do whatever King George told them. Sound familiar? Social distancing. Anyway, this country was built on a very solid spiritual foundation that requires every now and then, and it's in the Constitution, that we tear down the old and build upon the new. After the detritus of the old dead growth is pruned away, then new creative growth can come forward. And this is the underlying vibration of America. It's not going to be the same old status quo, good old boys club, like it's been for the last few hundred years, forever. I'm wondering if AI can take the reins and help fix this a little bit. I don't know, without, totally subjugating us. But there is them from the dark who want to subjugate us, keep us in our little homemade prisons, and ration out the goodies, the toilet paper. Here's your roll of toilet paper. There you go. Be frugal and clean. Anyway, really interestingly about America, America's vibe, as I said, is a 32-5. I'm going to show you this again. And there's all sorts of little calculations there that only Uncle Guido can decipher. And yes, you can learn how to decipher this too by signing up for some of my beginning tarot, numerology, and astrology classes that will help cultivate your psychic ability so that you can begin to move into a wider bandwidth of perceptibility of the universe. We only decode a small fraction of the bandwidth of information going on up there. They say that dark matter is way more than visible matter. Well, okay, true. But you can expand your bandwidth and learn how to interact at a higher degree, a different degree, a more artistic degree, a much, much more magical degree than what man's little world is offering you. And that is clamping down, and it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And say, here's your box, buddy, get in there and be a good boy. Don't come out till we tell you to, yes. Well, what's going on? The sun's ramping up, it's getting brighter, but it's not that much hotter. It's hitting us with rays of unseen magnitude, and we are being asked to evolve. But we've discussed this before. Let's go back to this America thing. July 4th, 1776. By golly, that turns out to be a 32-5 by my calculations. Now, some numerologists rush to the end to get that single digit, but 1776 was a 21 year. And this 21 idea is the world. And I don't know if you can see that little thing there, but that's a little ashtray I've got of the world. And it represents the 21st axiom of the leper messiah. It is what you think it is. So bring all your ideas, bring all your creativity, come to America. This year of 1776, we proclaim our independence, even though it all transpired a decade before that. They didn't get around to getting all these things out until the 80s. But on July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence came out. And lo and behold, it's a 32-5. So what does it mean numerologically when your name vibration, 32-5 America, is the same as your birth date, which is the life path vibration? So the essence and the life path are the same number. They're constructed a little bit differently, but what it represents in numerology is that somewhere along the lines of history, there is a vibration that began, and I'm saying Atlantis. And so America is the third or fourth wrap of the burrito roll coming back around. Here's Atlantis, that energy got started. We move through history and we're back here. Here's America. Here's our chance to get it right. Here's our chance to not overthrow nature, to not sink the continent, as they say happened to those poor antediluvians. See, it goes all the way back to Atlantis, where the male paradigm of power and conquest and not honoring the feminine got its foothold. And so here we are standing at this this epoch of the COVID-19, and the powers that be know that the age of Aquarius is the doorway to breaking free of these chains. It's the doorway to bringing balance and symmetry to a balanced female and male cohesion and interaction. We're at the point of where we can honestly look at why do we support a system that allows 1% to have everything and the rest of us are scraping by. See, so there was a lot of things coming to the forefront that were impinging upon their stranglehold over humanity, and so I believe this virus was deliberately released to, once again, just like 9/11, put us into fear, and that fear spiral holds you into a weakened state of interaction with your surroundings, your universe. So when you're in fear, you tend to magnetize that which you fear to you. And so they want to keep you in fear. That media is just pounding you. Be afraid, wear your mask, wash your hands, stay away, stay away. When in reality, just the opposite is what's needed. If you are in a fragile state, yes, you really need to take some extra measures. But as far as I can see, this COVID thing has already rolled through, and for the most part, we all have adapted and are immune. I do not think a vaccine is even needed, but they're going to invest billions into chasing this so a few companies can make the big bucks, and maybe they can institute their totalitarian plans of chipping us, monitoring us, seeing where we go, who we contact, even better. But, we can go down the infamous they story all we want. What I'm trying to look at here, especially with these numbers for America, is who we are and where are we going now. We know that they have a very succinct plan in play for where they are leading us. And I'm saying we have a choice to stand up and say, oh, no. But in that choice is a great amount of responsibility. The responsibility to lead yourself, to not look to authority figures for your answers, but to take the reins of your own life, your own reality, your own community, and be a positive, creative force within all of these realms. That then multiplies out from your community to the next, to your state, to your country around the globe. Humanity has been poised ever since 2012. The bonds of karma have been relaxed so that we are free to move into a fifth dimensional reality. And this sounds a little woo-woo, but there it is. In this space, there is no room for greed or pettiness or war. There is only room for love and cooperation. A real kumbaya kind of thing, And, tell me, any one of you out there, send me an email if you think I'm full of hooey. And we should hang on to these things like war and greed and people starving and all of this. Now, the entrenched governments of the world and powers that be and the ones who rule all of these governments say, hey, Guido, you're treading on thin ice here. This is our sacred cow. We've got the whole enchilada sussed up for ourselves. You get your part and be a good little boy. Don't rock the boat. You might end up with a necktie party on your doorknob or something like that. But anyway, I'm not magnetizing that to me, and I'm not afraid of it. So, what I want to talk to you is, as we look at where America, with this 32.5 lesson, and that is the ability to be free, to try, to sample, to play, always play. If you're not in a state of play, what can I say? It's like, Olay, get the hay out of there. So you have to be flexible, you have to be adaptable, and that's a hallmark of evolution, according to Darwin. Um, 2020 is 20 plus 20 is 40. 40 plus 4, 4 plus 0 equals 4. We are on a 4-year, a 40-4 year, and this is a very, very powerful year with all the attributes of 2020 vision, seeing clearly. Can we see through that fake news? And let me tell you, it's all fake news. They have their little sides of the left-right paradigm that they want to reinforce, but it's the same, two sides of the same coin, you know. So the emperor in the Tarot is what the 4 is, and so are we going to let the emperors take their firm hold over the masses? Or are we going to stand up and become our own rulers? Are we going to become our own sovereigns? Are we going to stand up and say, why am I paying for all of this garbage? Why am I paying for these bombs they keep dropping on brown people across the world? Why do I subsidize Monsanto and oil companies with my tax dollars? Why isn't the system, after all of these years, more equitable towards the whole, where everybody shares equally in their own piece of the puzzle? Huh? Anyway, this is the year to figure it out, and it makes complete sense that the powers that be would make their grab through a plandemic, and by God, it is planned. And so, you know, we look at where America's vibration, the 32, plus the current year vibration of the 40, that equals a 72.9. So this is a very, very mystical year for America. And the real key in this time that we have been in, not so much self-imposed exile, but yeah, nobody really argued too hard when they were told to run for cover. But while we're in here, this is a really good time to go within and meditate, review, look at your place with how the stories they handed you have played out and where you're at, and maybe you don't have a job anymore, and what am I gonna do? Am I gonna run crawling to the government? Please give me another check. I mean, holy moly. Or are we gonna stand up, get out? See, and that's just it. They don't want us to stand up and get out and be with one another. They want us to be isolated, and that's the biggest danger of all. I'm telling you, this thing has already rolled through. You have probably been exposed. If not, you're going to get exposed sooner or later, and 99.9 out of 100 or out of 1,000 are going to be okay. If you've got lung conditions or other stories that have weakened your immune system, get on your vitamin C, your zinc, and your vitamin D. This will help you so much you would not believe it. Get outside. People, get your bare tootsies in Mother Earth and wiggle them around. Plant your garden. Plant your garden. This is the most important thing you can do to reconnect with Mother Nature. And this is what we have lost by following the prescriptions of man's world. We have lost our connection to Mother Nature. Get out and plant a tree, you know. Do something to leave the place. Do the Boy Scout motto, man. Leave the place better than you found it. Clean up some of this garbage. But the whole point is go within and really reconnect with your inner self, your higher self, your family, and observe what is truly important. Is it all this gadgetry? Huh? You know, these are just tools. Don't get lost in your tools, people. You hear me? You are at the precipice of leaping into the great unknown of the fifth dimension. And if you can get rid of the detritus that holds you down in fear, in lack, in greed, in mine, all of these negative things that hold you in man's world and reinforce man's world, if you can just let go and leap into this unknown and free up your vibration a little bit from all the crap you've bogged it down with. And I'm not going to preach at anybody about diet and stuff, but for myself, I have really been noticing how my desire to drink beer, which is one of my favorites, my eating of meat, that's winnowed away. All of these things, you know, just naturally, because I'm listening, are just kind of shifting a little bit. They're changing. I want to be healthy. So do you. You're watching that damn boob tube there. You're like scared shitless that the old Corona boogeyman's going to jump out from under the bed and grab you by the cojones and say, "You're mine!" Ah. Anyway, where are we going with all this? I ramble. I think if anybody likes these rambles, just send a little likey thingy on the YouTubey dealy do, okay? Anyway, we're in the 72-9 year. And so we're kind of wrapping up a vibration, and it's going to get deeper. And we have to reconnect with the 7 principle. And what's the 7 principle, numerological fans and students? It is spirituality. And I don't mean religion, although that's a part of it. It's going within and knowing who you are. And that's one of my premises. Know thyself. You are a part of the whole, a part of the one, a part of God here on earth to play in materiality. It can go really wonderfully, especially as you go within and link with that force of creativity. Or it can spiral down really bad as you allow the darkness to take hold and work through your fears. And that's all you're doing. You're just working through them. Hey, let's go see what that dark, scary stuff's all about. Okay? I got a million lifetimes to do it. Why not? Or, like Uncle Guido here, you could have a pretty easy vacation life where stuff seems to go okie dokie. And thank you for that great spirit. I must say, gratitude is my ever oozing essence. Gratitude is the attitude of beatitude, as Father Charlie used to say. For a while, we are going to be in these deep reflective times, and we're going to start moving into a very powerful period in about 2026. So we've got about 6 years, people, to consolidate our power, because the powers that be are definitely trying to consolidate their power. Now, thank God there's more of us than there are of them, and maybe we can work something out and all come together kumbaya style, but you've got a few years of working on yourself. On top of that, remember how freaky deaky we were all about the old climate change and this, that, and the other thing, chemtrails, you know, whatever was going on out there, these gigantic rainstorms and stuff like that. And I think we're going into an ice age myself. This has been the most interesting spring I've seen since '96, and that was a big winter following that. So I'm predicting for where I live in Montana, a big winter. It's just very interesting times. You know, if biblically, if you latched onto the fundamentalists, you could look out there and see, you know, several of the horsemen of the apocalypse riding right now. As we're waiting for is the war horse to drop its hammer. And by God, those politicians, you know, they doing what they do best. They're ramping up their funding for building bombs and bullets so that, you know, if Russia's not going to be the boogeyman, let's go after China. Why not? They're fuckers. They sent that COVID our way, is the story. Maybe with the help of some of our scientists, the CDC dudes, whatever, who knows? Who really knows? Who really cares? The point is, everybody wants to love their children. Everybody wants to see their garden grow. Everybody wants beautiful rivers and lakes and mountains and neighborhoods. There is no us or them. There's, you know, Pink Floyd was wrong. There's only one of us here. And we can all come together and start to analyze and work on our problems together. We need to stop demonizing each other and go after the root of these societal structures that have set these parameters in which we operate these jobs and these corporations that are consolidating now. I mean, the guillotine has come down on mom and pop. God bless you if you were one of the victims of this COVID. But we have the chance to bounce back. And we can bounce back and try to play the game the same old way. But that's going to be just as vacuous and empty and unfulfilling as it was just prior to this. The only way we're going to find fulfillment, my friends, is to go within and look deep within. So vibrationally, our world is in this inner reflective period for the next 6 years. And so, you know, maybe there's something benevolent about being sequestered to your home location so that you can really start mulling around. You know, unfortunately, a lot of our brothers and sisters are going to turn to more drugs and alcohol and depression and suicide and all this stuff, and that will be yet another casualty of what's going on here. And spiritually, a lot of people did sign up to see this lesson of the darker influences and death and depression and that. But what I'm seeing in the cards, I've thrown some cards right down here, and we're going to look at that right now, is that once again, I keep throwing the cards, and it shows nothing but choices and opportunity and a way out that is better for the whole, better for everybody, and not just the big corporate conglomerates that truly run the world. So I'm going to hop up here, and I'm going to move the camera right down there so that you can see what I see, and hopefully you might even see beyond me, because the tarot is a very personalized little tool, and you know, at any given time I'm going to see something, and the next time I look at it I might see something else. So we've got a bunch of stuff out on the table here. I'm wondering, is that light good? It looks okay to me. You tell me, okay? I'm going to go just that way, just a little bit. Oh, I'm going to back up. There we go. Uncle Guido's here to interpret what he sees for America. This week, I know you've been hanging on with bated breath for the next installment of my tarot episodes for you. Once again, I'm very reading monotheistic. I like to do the Celtic cross, and here's my Celtic cross today, okay? Past, present, future. This line here is energy that sums up what's going on. This is the summation card, the environmental influences, your hopes and fears, as some call it, and the outcome. This is your higher self. This is the supporting energy. As always, I throw 2 extra cards to a Celtic cross. This is a connector of energies that help you link the past, present, and future. And this is what you're least aware of. Now, as you can see here today, I have brought on board the Housewives Tarot. And I've got many, many different decks. And this one is just so much fun because it kind of, you know, we're all little domestic dollies with this sequestration, this self-confinement thing that we're going through here. So I'm thinking a lot of people's houses and yards and stuff like that haven't ever been so darn clean. And let's get this straight. Domestic duties are not solely relegated to the female of the species. Man's traditional roles are really being looked at here as who's the breadwinner and who's the domesticator, and all that sort of thing. So right off the get-go, this is us. This is where we stand right here. This is the energy we are facing right now, the Two of Wands. We have choices. Are we going to keep trudging begrudgingly down that same old treadmill? Or are we going to start doing things in a new way? Are we going to bring our higher spiritual consciousness to the choices that are ahead for us? Hell, are we just going to say, let the dishes sit for a day, or I'm going to do this in a new way? And, there's just lots to say about which way you could take your choices and go. So the twos, numerologically, are always choices. Okay? And this is the suit of wands, and look at her. She looks like, I need a break. Oh my God, help me, Uncle Guido. Anyway, so here's the three of wands crossing our path, and I thought that was interesting because it's a natural progression. This chick's got it going. She's like, I'm all done. I did it creatively. I had some fun, and because I brought my spiritual intellect into the mundane duties at hand, I was able to find a new wavelength of energy in which to proceed as I pursue my domestic little duties here. And this can ring out into everything: the way we approach business, the way we approach government, the way we approach cures to diseases. We have to take things into our own hands and realize we are that magician that calls the tune, that has set our reality into motion. Now, this is the energy that supports us, and I find this very, very interesting. This is what I call one of the wish cards. It's the Nine of Cups. So we're looking at emotions now. Now, wands, remember these first two cards, wands are the more philosophical, spiritual, higher mind type things. Cups are emotions, and the Nine of Cups is a very fulfilled, abundant card, which says you can have pretty much anything you want. What do you want? What makes you happy? What makes your heart sing? How can you follow your bliss? How can you get in touch with what is real? How can you cleanse your emotions and really dictate the course of your creativity? Now, when you're locked in fear, you can't do much of shit except, sit there and quiver. We've really got to get in touch with our emotional thing here. Over here, we might be tending to medicate our emotional things because it's just too intense. And we'll get to that. Okay. The recent past that leads up to this, and it was reversed when I threw it, is the King of Swords. And the old King of Swords thinks he's got it going on. He's got it. He's got his little shish kebab very full there. And what I got from this is that the energies that were set in motion over the control factors of this COVID-19 have been thwarted a little bit. It's not panning out the way they want it to pan out, which is a good thing, because you are standing at this precipice of deciding how this new energy waveform is going to help you remold your world. Don't let them remold your world. You remold your world. Now, here's the higher self, and this is the stickler right here. You don't want to change. You don't want to let go of the status quo. And to receive the new energy that is possible for us, the new level of abundance and interaction with your world, you have to let go. And that's what the higher self is saying. Let go. And coincidentally, the other let go card is in the outcome, the Hangman, and that's a major arcana. Okay, so we are coming into that's the past, what's crossing our path right now, and the future is a major arcana card. There's only 22 major arcana cards. This is the Moon. And to me that says we're going into a period of really examining our subconscious. Again, more fears can come up. It's kind of time to just kind of take a little snoozy there, according to this picture, and reflect upon what our dreams are telling us, what energy is still coming through from the subconscious realms and playing an active role in creating your reality. And now it's time to get a handle on those negative subconscious thoughts and start to put into effect a higher, more spiritualized form of creating your reality. And by God, people, you do create your reality. We're in a matrix of a set of agreements that we operate within those parameters, but you create your own reality. And those constant messages that you keep telling yourself, oh, this or that, or yay, that or this, those show up in your world. It is what you think it is until you feel it's something else. And so here's one of the areas we have to go through over the course of the next month of really trying to figure out, again, what is it that we want? How can we take this world that God has given us and make the most of it? And so the next card sums up the thing, and it goes right back. It's called the world. And this is the housewives' representation of this card right here. Those are both world cards. And what I see this is where we're going right now. This is more important than ever. We're about ready to be reborn. This is like a little vagina. That's like a little baby shooting through there. We have the opportunity to be reborn into a higher dimensional frequency of this world. Something we know very little about. Anyway, in the housewives world, she's got it all summed up. Her little world fits nice and tidy in this little box. And we've got the recipe for happiness and everything right there in the little world. Well, isn't that handy, dandy, tidy, and leave it to beaver boring? It is what you think it is till you feel it's something else. So all possibilities, when this card and this card are here, all possibilities await your command. So we're going to allow somebody else to orchestrate this and command us into how we should, proceed in the world? Or are we, going to take our power? And this is the year of taking your power, people. Take your power. The influences of your environment are telling you it's going to be okay, stay home, have a cocktail, relax. The government will take care of you. But with this card, the downside of it is you could really start hoarding a little bit too much toilet paper out of fear. Putting yourself above others, and we've really got to remember from the past readings and the last couple of things, we need to interact with others and bring the maturity of the loving mother there to bear in the world to help those in need, and look at everybody as our children and help them through this. Again, this is the second two in this reading. We start out, we have our choices. This is the Two of Pentacles in the position of our hopes and fears. So we're just kind of vacillating back and forth. Should I do this? Should I do that? I've got all these obligations tugging at my skirt here. What should I do? And will the government do it for me and save me? Or is there something I need to do for myself? So we're at this vacillation point of, we've got a little bit of time here to figure out what's inside of us and what we need to focus our energy on and bring to bear. And then on top of that, we might have all these brilliant ideas. I should do this, but the outcome here is the Hangman. And the Hangman is one of the toughest. It's the major arcana. It's the number 12. It's like until you let go. Let's see, over here we got the let go card. Until you let go, you cannot even really see the truth. You cannot see the best way. So you might have a really great idea of where you're going, what you want to do, what feels good emotionally. But there's this element of needing to give it to God and surrender into it to be shown the true way, which comes back to this wands thing over here. We're in this position of surrender. And so instead of being in surrender with fear, we need to just let go and go for the ride. Where is this taking us? God never closes a door without opening a window, Our true path, see, I have this card up because that's a blessing card I pulled for me earlier in this thing, is our true path as God incarnate awaits us to link with that force of the universe to guide us at every step. And that's when we can truly claim our power and face the slings and arrows of the world and create from a higher and higher level of consciousness. Okay, so my role in this, I pulled the Queen of Pentacles today, the prosperous lady. Business for me has been going good. If I can help anybody with some food, let me know. See, and here the roles are reversed. So we're looking at these new roles. The man's home with the grocery and the kids, and the woman's off being the breadwinner. There is no role anymore. It's you individualistically decide how you're going to integrate into the world, the physical world. Pentacles are all about man's world, physicality here. Money, stuff like that. How are you going to rule that world? Are you going to be the more gentle about it, the more willing to offer something of value in return for something? Are you going to help others to see ways to reform this world? And this is what we need more than ever, is to bring the feminine touch into this world. And so if I can help you do anything, it's to remember how to decalcify your pineal gland, link the female and male hemisphere of your brain, open up the bandwidth of your psychic perceptibilities, and incorporate more of your own gentler side to bring into this world, because man's world is just a shambles. The corporate thing, the greed, the pollution, the war, it's a shambles. Face it, come on, admit it. Uncle Guido, I'm not the only one here. We need a bunch of grandmas in charge here. We need to have a cookie sale. We need some milk and cookies to go around the world and heal everything, okay? Interestingly, this is the card I threw for society in general. And so here is our opportunity to shine and show, just like in 9/11 when everybody came together, show what we're really made of and what we have to offer, and bring the best version of ourselves forward. And this is the energy we need to grasp onto. There is huge change afoot. Lots of institutions need to go, and new ideas need to come forward. And this is a really good card for humanity. Where are we going as a nation? There are lots of really good ideas there. And again, it's the Eight of Wands, so we want to go back to our philosophy, our higher spirituality, and bring through these possibilities. There's an infinite number of possibilities waiting to come down to earth. And this card also reminds me that we have help from the other side of our ancestors, our spirit guides, all this sort of thing. And so this is a card of harmony. This is where we're heading, if we can make the right choices and get through our emotional gunk. Okay? This is the card of the infamous They, a swords card. And to me, this is a card of, all right, they haven't quite played their entire hand. They're holding back some elements that are yet to spring upon us. The corporate world isn't quite sure where it's going, how far it's going to let the collapse go, if they're going to come roaring back in. They're not quite sure. They're making choices too. And it all depends on how much they truly desire to rein us in as cattle in our prisons and control us. Okay. Now the two connector cards, I haven't talked about those yet. This is the Seven of Pentacles, and everything that we've done up to this point has only got us so far. The Seven of Pentacles says, yeah, it's pretty, not too bad, but I think I can do better. How can I bring in a higher vibration? See, and so this is tied to surrendering to spirit, looking at your choices through spiritual eyes, dealing with your emotions, and finding a new way to create. Okay? Letting go over here. And so I would really be looking at your gardens and your dietary choices and all of those things with as much consciousness as you can bring to bear, because we need to get back to a more holistic lifestyle. The card that we're least aware of is a major arcanum, and it is the death card. And so this lesson of the COVID and the deaths for the poor people who succumb to it is a big one. And a lot of people signed up just for that lesson, and their families around them did too. And the interesting thing is that it is behind us. The hardest part has gone through. And so if there's any reassurance I can give you about this through my cards is that the worst is over. Now they may bring it back again. If they so choose to play that card again, they might. But I don't think we're going to allow them to lock us down like they did. I hope not, because that's the key right there. Do not allow them to lock you away. And then this is kind of a blessing card, the Eight of Pentacles. It's time to get back to work, people. It's time to roll up your sleeves and come up with new concepts. Bring some of those essential industries back to America so we're not relying on China so much. Get going on your own personal entrepreneurial spirit. You're going to be getting back to work under new regiments and requirements and social distancing things, but it's starting to open back up, and that is a blessing. That this is behind us and we are now moving forward. And remember, it is what you think it is. So I'm going to come back over to here and say one more yeah, that's cute. One more little final message. There's my little office here. People, if I can tell you one thing, it's time for us all to go within and to cultivate our inner higher self relationship so that we may more fully know thyself. While you still have time to get out there and analyze, work on your spiritual 10. If you're interested in tools that help expand your psychic abilities, if you're interested in working on your spiritual 10 through tarot, astrology, and numerology, send me a message. I'm doing a 2-for-1 Corona special this month. If you want a reading, 2 for the price of 1. You and a buddy, call me up, get me a message on the old YouTube here, and we'll do a reading for you, and we'll look specifically at what your future is going to hold through this mess. And there are a lot of question marks out there, but if anybody can help you look at this spiritually, help you to empower yourself to make the choices that you need to make, help you to examine your belief structures, help you to become more than you currently are. It's old Uncle Guido here. This is my sincere wish for everybody to raise their vibration, to move into more love and peace and joy and co-creativity with the universal power God in this world. And on that note, I send you my blessing. I say, Uncle Guido, over and out. Boom.